Welcome to another episode of Leah in the Kitchen. On today's episode, we'll be whipping up a delicious oven roasted chicken with roasted veggies and pan-seared asparagus. Ever heard of spatchcock chicken? Let's get into it.
So we're going to add some red skin potatoes for our roasted potatoes with the rest of the veggies with these chicken. Some of them are different sizes, so the smaller ones I'll leave as is. The bigger ones I'll probably cut in 4 so that they all cook, they're all about the same size and cook evenly. If they're a little smaller, cut them in half. The small ones stay whole. These big ones I'm going to cut in 4. If they're washed, I'm not going to peel them because I love red potatoes with the skin on it. So peeled and washed some carrots. I'm going to chop them in some nice big chunks for roasting.
Spatchcock or butterfly is the process of removing the chicken's backbone or the main spine, allowing it to open and lay flat for a more even and faster cooking time.
So after we have butterfly our whole chicken, we went ahead and seasoned it up. I made sure I sprinkled with salt and black pepper. I even added some of my homemade green seasoning. Make sure I get it all underneath the skin on the underside as well. I had it sitting there for a bit to marinate. I made a couple slits in the leg and breast so that the seasoning could get in there. It's nice, it's marinated, and now it's getting ready for my skillet. My hot skillet, I'm going to sear it on the breast side so it gets a nice color before we put it into the oven to continue baking. Okay, so my skillet has been heating up for about a good 15-20 minutes. You want to make sure that it's heating up on a nice low medium heat for even heating. It's a very heavy cast iron skillet, and so it takes a while for it to heat up all the way. I'm going to go ahead and add in a little bit of olive oil to coat the pan. You have to remember when you're handling a cast iron skillet like this, you always need something to hold the pan. It's right through. Alright, so this is pretty hot. You can see it smoking. And I'm going to go ahead and take my chicken. Hopefully it fits in there nicely. I'm going to go ahead and sear that until it gets a nice color. Okay, so I'm about to do something a little crazy here. I filled up my heavy cast iron brazen pan and lined it with some foil. I filled it up with some water. I'm going to stick it right on top of here so that it has a nice weight pressing down that chicken breast. So it can have an even coat and line up with the chicken leg, the chicken thigh. I'm going to take a look at the check and see how it's looking. And we got a nice color. There, I'm liking that. We're going to flip it and let it just sear on this side for a little bit, and then we're going to get ready to put it to the oven that's already preheating. So the chicken has been searing on the underside for a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and remove this and put it on a lined baking sheet. I'm going to leave it there in the middle. I'm going to make sure that the wings are tucked in underneath the chicken because usually the tips tend to get dark really quickly. We're going to tuck these wings underneath here. Just go ahead and add these red potatoes around. They're going to be baking at the same time. So I'm going to arrange these potatoes evenly. I'm going to turn some down so that the skin can be a little bit crispy. The little whole ones that I didn't cut, I'm just putting a little bit of a slit in it so that it can aerate. Turn some of them over so that you have some of the white part facing down, some of the skin side facing down. Get a nice creaminess from the potatoes and that crispy skin. I'm also going to arrange some carrots around. These are going to get baked as well, roasted. I'm going to do my asparagus separately on my grill top that I have heating up right now. So as soon as I put this in the oven, we will see that part. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of olive oil. I'm going to also cut up, I can make my own herb butter, but I have this handy, so I'm going to cut up some pieces, chunks of my garlic herb butter. That's going to add some more additional moisture to make sure everything is nice and moist and juicy. I'm going to smear a little bit on top of the chicken, some additional flavor. And I'm also going to sprinkle this with some fresh chopped parsley. I love red potatoes with butter and parsley on it. I absolutely love that. So I'm just going to sprinkle some of that in there. We're going to go ahead and put that in an oven at 350 until the chicken is cooked and the veggies are tender. Now while the chicken does what it needs to do in the oven, on my lovely grill pan on the stove top, we're going to make sure, I want to make sure it's nice and hot. I'm going to sear my asparagus on this. And so I'm going to lay it out evenly. Sprinkle again some olive oil. Sprinkle of black pepper and salt. And make sure that that sits there and sears until nice and tender. I still want a crunch in it, so for about a good 10 minutes probably we'll check it. So you're going to try to flip these for an even cook. Side is getting cooked. An amazing bite.
It's been here now for about 10 minutes and I see it has that perfect tenderness and firmness for that crunch that I'm looking for. Now it's time to check the chicken. It's been baking for about 35 minutes in the oven. We want to make sure that it's thoroughly cooked through the thickest part of the breast and that the potatoes and carrots are tender. It looks pretty good. I think it's time to dig in. Oh my God. Can you see the juices oozing out the chicken thigh as I touched it with the knife? What an easy cut. It's cooked right through. It's very tender, very succulent. Look at that. I started plating it. You could see all that good butter and juices dripping on that plate. My God, so good. So I'm cutting up this chicken breast so I could show you how perfectly cooked it's on the inside. definitely not dry. It's still very much moist and juicy. Crispy skin, soft tender inside, delicious. Well, I do want to thank you for joining me for another episode of Leah in the Kitchen. I sure do hope you enjoyed. And don't forget, subscribe to this channel for more recipes to come. Thank you and bye.